Welcome to Race Weekend Update, where we update you on all of this race weekend's news and results. I'm your host, Mike Lofquist, and let's get right into the news. Speed Weeks is in full swing at Daytona, and last night the Sprint Unlimited kicked off the Cup season with a bang. There was a giant 9-car wreck on lap 37 that effectively halved the field. Matt Kenseth made an aggressive move to the inside and found Joey Logano's right front fender, which started a massive pileup. This nasty wreck took out most of the field, including Tony Stewart, returning from a leg injury last year. Tony basically wound up pinned against the wall by Jeff Gordon and his new teammate Kurt Busch's car. When asked how he was feeling, he said he was fine, but said he would probably be feeling it after the adrenaline wore off. In this week's Danica Patrick update, she avoided most of the wreck, but was eventually taken out by her boyfriend, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Ricky was involved in the wreck a little bit earlier on and had his hood bent up, couldn't see where he was going, and basically sheared the entire left side of Danica's car off. The event was decided in a 5-lap sprint to the finish after Marcus Ambrose and Dale Earnhardt Jr. got together, effectively taking both of them out of the race. Denny Hamlin ended up winning the event with a 3-wide move to the outside down the backstretch with 2 laps to go. As many of you will remember, Denny ended up winning the last race of the season at Homestead Miami Speedway. Today they had Coors Light pole qualifying for the Daytona 500. The big news is that the number 3 is back and on the pole, driven by Austin Dillon, Richard Childress' grandson. Martin Truex Jr. in the number 78 Furniture Row car gave Austin probably the biggest scare of the entire session. Truex will start on the outside pole for the 56th running of the Daytona 500 next Sunday. Other notable drivers include Jr., who wound up 7th, Danica Patrick, who wound up 25th, and Jimmy Johnson, who wound up 14th. These speeds, of course, mean absolutely nothing to anybody except for the 2 guys on the front row. They're locked in. Everybody else, their positions will be assigned after the dual races on Thursday. The ARCA Series kicked off its 2014 season with their race at Daytona Saturday afternoon. Chase Elliott and Buster Graham got together coming to the tri-oval and triggered a 15-car crash very early on. Elliott and Graham's crews got together on pit road and had to be separated 2 separate times. To me, it just seems like a racing incident, but that never stops anybody from opening their mouth and looking like a complete idiot on national television. Oh, and then Grant Enfinger went on to win the race in a pretty uneventful finish. The next time the ARCA cars will be on track is March 22nd in Mobile, Alabama. IndyCar was out testing at Sonoma this week. Nothing really big to talk about there. The only really cool news that came out of the testing at Sonoma was a point-of-view video posted by Honda on YouTube, and there'll be a link in the description. Formula One tested last week with their new and improved pointy-nosed cars. The testing was pretty uneventful, although the Renault engines had some big issues. Everybody continues to make a huge deal out of that because, of course, Red Bull uses their engines and they are the defending champion from last year. It was pretty much a complete disaster for Red Bull and Renault. They only ended up completing really a handful of laps. But of course, it is just testing, so who knows what's actually going on. The other big news is the new car launches and some of the uglier designs that are in Formula One this year. This is mostly due to an FIA regulation to keep the noses lower. I mean, they're hideous, but who cares? They're still the best race cars on the planet. The next time we get a chance to see the new ugly cars on track is the 19th to the 22nd when Formula One has their second test in Bahrain. NHRA had the weekend off, but will be back on track in Arizona next weekend. If you haven't seen the Ron Capps explosion from last week, you should definitely give that a watch, and there'll be a link in the description. AMA Supercross rolled into San Diego this weekend. James Stewart absolutely dominated the A-Main, leading all 20 laps, and became the first rider to ever win a Supercross race in 10 consecutive seasons. This was his 46th win, and he was followed closely behind by last year's champ Ryan Villopoto and the German sensation Ken Roczen. Next week, the Supercross Tour heads to Arlington, Texas. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button and check back each week. That's all the racing-related news that mattered to me this week. I'm Mike Lofquist saying we'll see you at the track.